Alright guys, we have a question here from Matt. Matt asks, I would like to see BJJ guard passes that rely on angles and smash the hips, making the person helpless. Alright Matt, and then the other question is from Peter. Peter says, sweet deal Javi. He says, how do you kill, stop, nullify, or deal with all those fancy guards, deep half guard, inverted, 50-50, floating around? I usually don't really want to deal with other people's games. Thanks, to Pedro. Well, obviously there's several different kinds of guards. There's not one way to pass all these kinds of guards. I mean, the general rule is always pressure. Pressure will solve a lot of things. You don't necessarily have to do things with speed. Angles and pressures are primarily the things that I use. The other thing I use that has changed a lot in my guard passing has been just mentally how I approach passing the guard. I don't try to pass people's guards. What I try to do is I just try to wear people out. And applying a tremendous amount of pressure and doing what I call verifying, which we'll get into today, will a lot of times lead for the person on the bottom to cause them to make a lot of mistakes. So again, the mentality isn't I'm trying to pass their guard. The mentality is I'm trying to wear them out, and in wearing them out, you will end up passing their guard. So let's start off with what I like to call my slice pass series. So initially, what I'm trying to do with my slice pass series is I'm going to get into the slice first, and then from the slice we're going to get into the actual series here. The first thing is when somebody has an open guard here, they're going to be moving their legs around. If you try to grab their legs here, it might be difficult to grab their legs. Another thing that's very key in my guard passing is I don't grab the pants, and that's something that a lot of times most guys and most teachers actually teach. They teach you to grab the pants. Now, me personally, the reason I don't like to grab the pants ever, or very, very rarely, is the fact that every time I grab somebody's pants, I'm going to have to deal with the spider guard. And the fact that I don't grab anybody's pants, automatically I never have to pass anybody's spider guard. The reason why the spider guard is effective is people grab the pants, and then their feet go to the biceps, boom, boom, and then they end up grabbing your sleeves, and now you're stuck in a spider guard. The fact that somebody grabs the pants on top, automatically the first thing people do is they put their feet on the hips. So by not grabbing the pants, I don't have to deal with it. Now where do I grab? Very simple. I grab their feet. By grabbing a person's foot and he tries to put my feet in his biceps, it neutralizes that entire guard. So that right there is one guard you'll never have to pass again, or very, very rarely will you have to pass it, if you get into the habit of grabbing the ankles and the feet and not the pants. That's very, very important and very, very crucial in the way I pass the guard. So the person is here, their guard is open, and again, I always like to make things universal. I don't like to grab at people from this position, because if there was a real fight, I'd get kicked in the face. So in the same way that you would do it in MMA, my hips are going to lead, my head, I call this egg beaters. So as the person moves their legs around, think of an egg beater, you turn it on, two metal little things go in, right? You take a wooden spoon and you jam it. What happens is you jam the motor. So that's what I'm doing. Here's my wooden spoon, egg beaters are going there, and then I jam it, boom. I split the legs, control the ankles, and then I square myself off. The biggest mistake that people make on the slice pass is they leave this leg back. And we'll get into why this is not an effective way to pass with a slice pass. It'll allow this outside knee to enter, okay? And we'll get into all those details later, but I'm not so much worried about that right now. What I'm mainly worried about is my starting position, verifying the split. So the guy, he's got his egg beater going. I take my wooden spoon, I jam it, insert my foot all the way deep, and use my shin to lean the weight on in here. By doing this, he's automatically carrying my weight. If my leg is here, there's no weight on him. He's very comfortable, and he's not really exerting any energy. So make sure you step in deep, and by leaning in, just by bending my knee and leaning in, he's carrying my weight here. So that's one part. Here. My back leg here, I want to step it and square it off. Now, I want to be basically in a squared position like a horse stance. From here, we're going to do what's called verifying, okay? So the guy's got his leg beaters going. Take the wooden spoon, jam them. 1. Hips low, control the ankles, the tops of the foot, like this. Square them up. Once I do that, my hands slide to the knees. Now, if this guy puts his foot on my hip, which is common, what do? Grab the foot, step back, step forward. He does it again. Step back, step forward. The fact I can stay here is key. On the far side, okay, if he puts his foot on my hip, if you can get there, because my arm is going to be real snug. Let's say he does put it here, step back, step forward again. Keep yourself low and keep everything blocked off. The fact that you can stay here, verify the position. A lot of times this guy here will give you the angles and the openings you're going to need to pass the guard. So this is how we start. Egg beaters, wooden spoon, square it off. If this foot here goes to my hip, step back, step forward. Boom. If this one goes to my hip, step back, step forward. Throw it away. Keep your elbow and knee snug. Keep your hands down. Drive the weight forward. Notice how I'm driving my hips forward, kind of sitting on top of them. And this is where I want to be. Once this guy here stops moving around, then we're going to start working the pass.